If you see, India is a growing economy, and the startup world is thriving in India, and the data inflow has been exploded. I have a great honor to say that I'm the first certified TiDB professional certified DBA outside of PingCAP. So they were handling around 41 terabytes of data in RDS. The MySQL started choking. They were having a 45 minutes of downtime, and they were not able to do. And that is when I talked to the CTO directly. So we have a solution that can be a replacement for MySQL. In terabyte was translated to 3.4 terabyte in TiDB. So that is around 72% of storage benefit.
Hello, welcome to the latest episode of Data in the Hallway. My name is Ray Pake, Community Manager for TiDB, and I'm honored to be joined by one of the TiDB champions, Kabilesh PR, joining us from India, keeping with our global theme of meeting our community members worldwide. Welcome, Kabilesh. It's nice to meet you. Virtually, but it's nice to meet you sort of face to face.
Thanks, Ray. It was a great welcome, and it's a great honor to be in this podcast with you. I have seen a lot of podcasts about TiDB. I'm just fan of the community. I'm just happy to explore things and share with the community members my experiences on TiDB, as well as the adoption of TiDB and how the adoption of TiDB is growing in Indian market. Okay.
All right,
let's
cool.
Let's get started. I'll just introduce about myself. I'm Kabilesh PR. So I have around 10 years of experience in databases. I started my career as a MySQL DBA, and now I'm currently working as a founding partner, and you can call it as a co-founder for Mydbops, a company that provides support for open source databases, predominantly on MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB, as well as TiDB and Cassandra. So we are into this. This company was founded in 2016, and we are into this business for 8+ years, and we have managed multiple servers for our customers such as Flipkart, Dream11, and what are the unicorns. Most of the unicorns we have supported in India, and our customer base is growing on. And right now we have started exploring the TiDB vertical as well. I'm leading this TiDB vertical. I have a great honor to say that I'm the first certified TiDB professional certified DBA outside of PingCAP, and also I'm a community champion for TiDB, and I give a lot of talks, write a lot of blogs about TiDB and posters, multiple things you can see about my LinkedIn page. This is about what we do with respect to Mydbops and myself. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. You have, lots of good logos in your virtual background with all the top databases. Is there anything like interesting or unique about the database landscape in India versus like other regions like North America? What's sort of driving like the latest interests and latest hot topics in database in your market?
If you see, India is a growing economy, and the startup world is thriving in India, and the data inflow has been exploded. If you see the last 10 decades, the app everywhere, it's an app right now. So previously, when you choose for a database in 95 to this 90s era, there was like MySQL, which was leading the way with the website, that's Lamstack, PHP, and so now it is there is a radical shift. The data, even as we talk, the multiple data points are being generated, so we cannot store those data onto a single server or a server with it needs a burst of data has to be stored, whether it's a structural or a non-structural data. So that is how the data growth, and that is leading the way for the modern era databases such as TiDB, where it's growing, that option is growing. That's where I see it.
Cool. Yeah, so I think it's a good reflection of the growth and explosion of the economy and the high-tech sector in general. I think most of my career, I don't think I've experienced a downturn of the high-tech economy in India. So yeah, great reflection of that as economies and consumers grow, so does data needs, right? So I think that pretty good driving force. You mentioned you're one of the first certified experts in TiDB outside of our company. And it was interesting. I've been in like open source conferences both here in North America and Europe, and when I met people from India in these conferences, they come up to me and say, "You have no idea how fast you guys are growing." And both myself and my colleague Sunny Baines, who's from
Yeah.
India and very familiar with market, we both were like caught off guard. So we were obviously pleasantly surprised. And so let's talk about that. Like, how did you first get introduced to TiDB? First of all.
Um, it was in the 2019. I first heard about TiDB. So there was, I could say the name. I was working in Flipkart for a project for MySQL. I was scaling MySQL for big billion days. So during that
Mhm.
time, though they were searching for an alternative for MySQL as it's a single node architecture, they want to scale out and the big billion scale is growing year by year. So they started
Mhm.
exploring some of the databases. I would say Cockroach was one of the point. Yugabyte was there, and also they were testing TiDB as well. So that is where the first point I heard TiDB, and I was more curious how it is going to replace MySQL. So that was the first
Mhm.
question I asked to the architect who was exploring. He said TiDB has a compatible layer of MySQL. So they started testing it, and they said that after 6 months of time, the testing was a long process. The Flipkart scale. So they were testing, and they said that they are going to with the TiDB. So that is when I heard first about TiDB. After a long gap, like 2022, I would say. Sorry, end of 21. I came out of the project, so I wanted to explore new things outside MySQL, and I wanted to
Mhm.
find something which is more scalable than MySQL. That is when, okay, I started learning about TiDB. So first of all, I would like to thank the free courses that is available in TiDB. So
Mhm.
that was very very awesome and really helpful. I would recommend whoever is starting, right. It's a great starting point. It's nothing less than an enterprise level classroom training. So it covers all the things. So I got more interested onto it. Like first completed the basic course, then the essential course. Then I did not stop there. I wanted to explore more, and I want to become a certified engineer. And that is how it
Mhm.
started. And that is how I became a first certified DBA. I wanted to be in that point. So because I was more fascinated on the technology, so I love the way the distributed architecture that works with respect to TiDB from the TSO multiple. If I can speak right, I'll speak a lot about that. So I'll stop here.
Yeah. No. Appreciate that, and then we'll talk about some of the other use cases in a second in India. I mean, Flipkart obviously is a early success story, and I'll probably include a link to some of the case studies that we publish, and also, I mean, you mentioned our training site. I think it makes sense to sort of spread the word if people are just kicking the tires. And it's obviously good resources for developers. I mean, beyond your experience at Flipkart, in general, like, what do you think is like fueling the growth in India? And obviously, like I said, like, my colleague Sunny and I, we've been like a pleasantly surprised, and then Sunny was at an event, like a couple of events over the past few months in India to experience that firsthand. But what are some of the key factors that are driving the success of TiDB in this huge country?
Uh, so the first of all, the scalability issues. So as we
Hmm.
said, as the economy grows, the data explodes. So people want to store the data and they want to scale fast and the faster retrieval of data. So that is a major role playing the adoption for scaling. So people might have used MySQL, InnoDB cluster. What is beyond InnoDB cluster? There is nothing, right? So they want to scale further, like and also the SaaS platforms. So if you see the previous era. So everything is a SaaS platform. Even
Right,
TiDB has a SaaS platform for its customer, right? The
right.
marriage platform. So whatever the
Mhm.
platform, so they have a SaaS. So for the SaaS platform, I feel like TiDB is a really a best use case because we have a real world use case what we have covered. I'll just explain that in the next thing. That is one of the major factor. And the second important factor is it's completely open source and TiDB is a true open source project. So that is the another driving force that is pushing it. And the other important feature is the migration. Let's say your application is right now in MySQL, and if they want to search for other, say, let's say they are trying to move to DynamoDB or other databases, the development cost is very high. Let's say they have to rewrite code. But if they shift it to TiDB, it's just a lift and shift, like small minor changes, I would say. So it's almost 95% compatible with the SQL, other than the procedures and other things. So it's a really easy migration, scalability. I feel these are the major things, and also the migrations. So if you see the migration is very seamless, that TiDB can really act as a replica for your MySQL cluster, right? So that these are driving forces for the adoption of TiDB in India, I would say.
Right, right. No, I appreciate that. I mean, it's like a three major buckets that I've heard, like scalability, ease of migration coming from
Yes, sir.
MySQL, and I think the final thing you mentioned was open source, because obviously you have tons of developers in India, and in particular open source developers, right? And you're probably aware of this. We have annual hackathons, and over like 2023 and 2024. I mean, by far the most popular country in terms of
Yeah,
participants were India. I mean, it was just amazing. It wasn't even close between India and the second country in both years. So uh, yeah, I mean, I think we noticed that too. Being open source, opens a lot of doors, especially for a lot of developers, because they have a
exactly.
lot of them have affinity to open source, and that uh, it definitely sounds like that's the case in India as well. I mean, like we alluded to a couple of times. Let's talk about, like, obviously you work with a lot of um, technologists in India, and help them adopt different database technologies. And I think you're sort of the perfect person to speak to this. Probably, next to our sales team in India. Let's talk about some of the successful use cases. I mean, we mentioned Flipkart briefly, but I mean, there are probably others that you could talk to in terms of how they're using TiDB, and some of their success stories.
Okay, so let me share some of the interesting success stories. So we after learning TiDB, so I'll just continue as a story. So after learning TiDB, we had to implement, and we have to taste it somewhere, right? So people are most relevant to the change, means they are, means opposing to the change, I would say. So we had a customer, so they were onto the ride hailing. So they have a EV vehicle. So the EV vehicle is fitted with a IoT device, and they do the commute, like the short-term commutes. So they were hosted on RDS MySQL. They were our customer, and the name is Yulu. So that is the customer name. So they were handling around 41 terabytes of data in RDS. That is RDS MySQL open source. So they were handling. So they had issues, like we were supporting them for past 3 to 4 years, previously moving to TiDB. So we have seen the data burst and growth. So by every month they would add some 2000 vehicles. That means overall the vehicle comes around like 1 lakh vehicles on the field, sending a data for every 5 minutes. Okay, so that is the range. As the data grow to 41 terabytes, like the MySQL started choking. That is, you obviously started seeing the single chat nothing architecture bottlenecks, such as the increased restart time, stalls in the writes. So they were write heavy workload, as I mentioned, right? And that is when we pitched in. So I was there in the call. There was outage. There was a major outage that happened with the customer, and they were not able to recover. Even a restart was taking around like 45 minutes for the RDS to come back, even with the multi-AZ enabled. So they were having a 45 minutes of downtime, and they were not able to do. And that is when I talked to the CTO directly. So we have a solution that can really scale with, and that can be a replacement for MySQL, at least for your log data. So they have a huge ingestion of log, that is 8 tables. The 8 table comprises around 18 terabytes of data with a heavy write. So first they proposed, and the CTO was saying, okay, this is a new technology. Why should we adopt? Who will be there to support? Then I took it personally, and I met him, and then let's see, I will scale it. Then we just moved the 4 tables to a TiDB cluster. During that time, it was 7.1. That was the version first we tried. We tried with only 4 tables, 4 log tables, wherein 18 terabytes of data, we just put a replica with a DM migration pipelines and these things. And the 18 terabyte was translated to 3.4 terabyte in TiDB. So that is around 72% of storage benefit. And coming to the next, that is not the only benefit. And coming to the other point, the write scalability. So in MySQL, each inserts were taking around 350 or 300 ms, whereas in TiDB, as it's a RocksDB base, it was taking hardly around 20 ms to 30 ms. So that is a greater win, and the production cluster was really scaling well. So post seeing this benefit, they started migrating most of their log workload. Initially, what started with the 4 tables, they have migrated around 32 tables. Now the cluster size is around 66 terabytes in TiDB. They're using it for past 2 years. So this is
Wow.
this is a very great success story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think
And
you. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt, but
I'll also explain a second
yeah.
success story.
Yeah.
So this is for our one of our customer who is into a SaaS platform. So SaaS is like they are providing chat as application service, chat as a service to their customers. So they have 4 regions: US region, India region, and Europe region, and there is a dedicated customer. Okay, so there's 4 regions. Among this, in each region, they were having close to 10,000 schemas. Each schema has around 48 tables. So they were handling more than 7 lakhs tables. So that means 700K tables per region on a MySQL cluster. MySQL cluster is InnoDB cluster. So they were on to a biggest instance like 8x large machines or R5 series 8x large machine. Even though with the InnoDB cluster, the proxy SQL, they were having stalls because the metadata was very huge for MySQL to handle the cluster stall. And they were not able to handle the spiky loads of the chat because the nature of chat. Some people suddenly comes and the chat's response spike, and they are similar to a WhatsApp platform you can consider. Okay, so they were facing a lot of issues. That is, they said really we wanted to scale our application no matter what it cost. So I went on to a tech call with them. We were started exploring Galera cluster as a replacement for the MariaDB cluster. Then finally, I said, no, let's not again go to MySQL. So you have hit a limit. Let's not go to MySQL. Again, the same problem can repeat in the Galera cluster as well. Then we will explore TiDB. We'll do a POC. We first started as a POC project for the biggest cluster of size around 1.4 terabytes. We migrated around 700K tables onto it. We started loading the data. The migration was really seamless, and they started the POC testing. And the POC went for around 6 months for them to certify that it's really scalable because it's a new technology adoption, and also, you don't believe me, we saved a cost. They were running at around $4,000 per month for the MySQL infra. The
Mm.
same we replicated and we moved to TiDB. So that was running at around $1,500. So you can see the cost comparison. We solved around like we saved around $2,500 with
Mm.
respect to it's all on open source. And even today, right, they have migrated. Now the success story is now they have migrated all their 4 regions is completely on TiDB, and what started with a version of 7.5, now they are into the most recent version, that is 8.5. We have migrated upgrade, and they use type proxy as well. The best feature of type proxy is that zero downtime upgrades, migration, and also on the fly addition of nodes. They have stopped the TiDB nodes as in when it's needed, just they start and they just start using. So
Right.
this is another bigger use case and biggest success story what
Cool.
we have
Cool.
seen with our customers.
No, I mean, yeah, very. Uh, Both are very interesting use cases from different like industries, and I appreciate sort of the like a methodical approach that you took on both cases to sort of lead them through POC, and I mean, you're not like cutting over like the entirety of your database. I mean, nobody would ever do that, but
Yeah.
so your sort of structured approach on guiding your clients is definitely appreciated. And I mean, I saw your like a Yuli case study in a presentation you gave at like there was a TiDB user day a couple of months ago in India, and then it sort of caught my attention because uh, like I would call it like a ride hailing applications like Ubers of the world, like obviously Yulu in India, and then we had another like a community member or a customer in Europe, Bolt. They're using TiDB as well, and like I was thinking when we use these apps, like we don't think about the amount of data that's sort of
Right.
required to like sort of run the operations of it. And then, but you think about it, like every touch point that you do is it's like any interaction that you have on your app is there's like a lot of data that's going back and forth. So yeah, I sort of like beginning to think more about that as I talk about these different use cases. So yeah, thanks for sharing those. And yeah, I mean that Yulu case study really sort of caught my attention from your presentation. So appreciate you sort of going through that. Um, so obviously, over the past couple of years, like we enjoyed a great amount of adoption and also raising of awareness in the India market. I mean, what are some of the things that we from community or from a technology perspective, what are some of the things that you want to continue to see from TiDB to sort of continue on this like a great momentum in India?
The first thing is I would like PingCAP to continue the innovation that they are doing in the database front, like the scaling for 8 million tables for the Atlassian use case. So that is one. And the changes and the online DDLs, those innovations, and the community support. I would say the community support is really great with respect to PingCAP. Even if you raise a bug in the community, even Max responded to me multiple times
Mhm.
personally on a bug
Right.
that is to on that is to on a Christmas Eve. He has responded me for a critical bugs in backup as well as the community help and the community support has been really awesome. I would like to continue the PingCAP on investing in the community. Community is a great place to grow and
Mhm.
explore things. This is one thing, and also the new features. So what are all the new features which is coming with respect to the bug fixes is really awesome. I would like to appreciate the entire PingCAP team and the development team for giving all those features as a open source feature and make the community thrive and that is also important fuel for adapting of TiDB. So I would like to congratulate every one of them in the PingCAP.
Well, thank you. I definitely appreciate that. And then, in terms of community support, I mean, you're one of the contributors too, because even before I became too familiar with your name, I definitely noticed your activities and posts on our Slack instance, for example. Even if it's just sharing your blog about you sharing your experiences, it's a tremendous asset, and definitely want to see that from more of our community members. And thanks for sort of leading the way. So yeah, I mean it was hopefully at some point I've personally never been to India, but hopefully I'll get a chance to meet you in person. We had a couple of Zoom sessions, but I mean, thanks. Hopefully, I'll have a chance to shake your hand and thank you in person. So, yeah, thanks for being on our podcast. Um, so we're sort of reached the end of the episode, and I was sort of looking through the history. You're our second guest from India. I mean, it's I think it's long overdue. Like early on, we had a guest on joining from Mumbai, and I'm trying to be careful here. I don't want to butcher the name of your city. Um, Kani Yakumari, is that? I mean, I'm sure I didn't pronounce it right, but it's a new city that I've never heard of. It. I was looking at the map. It's at the very southern tip of the Indian continent, which is cool. So, first of all, tell us how you pronounce the name of the city, and tell us something about the city that you want to share with our community members. Oh.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
this city is my hometown. This is where I was
Mm.
born and brought up. So this is a southern tip of India. That's the last point. You can see the sunrise and sunset from the same point in Kanyakumari. So the
Oh
pronunciation
wow.
is Kanyakumar. Okay. So
Mm.
this is the only place in the world where you can see the moon rising from this side and the sun setting at the other side, the opposite side. You can
Oh
see
wow.
both. So this is one of the rare sites where you can see.
Yeah.
And this place is surrounded by sea, as it's a tropical and peninsula. So the
Hmm.
beaches are famous here. So wherever you go, you can see beaches and the seafood. The
Hmm.
food by seafood is very famous. Okay, you can get
Hmm.
all sort of seafoods very fresh at a very cheap price, and The other thing is the people are very close and they are very friendly in nature. So these are the major points of Kanyakumari, the place where I stay. And if I can talk, right, I can talk multiple things about similar to TiDB. I can talk talk a lot about Kanyakumari.
No, I mean, thanks for introducing us to a new city. I mean, I have a lot of friends living in the Bay Area. I have a lot of friends who are from India. I mean, from different parts of the country. I don't think I met anybody from Kanyakumari. And then I had a chance to look at Wikipedia page. The photos are stunning and very beautiful. And hopefully, I'll get a chance to visit place. Yeah, seeing both, the moon and the sun from the same spot. That's got to be a treat. So, and seeing the sunset and sunrise, that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Thank you, Ray, for the opportunity and
No, thank
acknowledging
you.
our work with us.
Yeah.
It has been a great podcast.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. I mean, if you don't mind, like we'll be happy to have you on again to talk about other use cases that you may be working on. So.
Exactly. So there are other use cases as well wherein we scaled 3 million QPS with the 20 millisecond latency. We'll talk about that later. That will be a bigger session.
There we go. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Thank you.